All right, here it is. This is the first video. This is my first time being on camera. Second video on the channel. The first video I did was an unboxing of the Ginger Snaps German box set, which had all 3 films in really cool media books. You can check that one out. There's not much else on the channel. It won't be too hard to find. I have obviously a shitload of awesome things to go through today. This is just going to be kind of a haul of things I've got the past, I don't know, month or so, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. I have Arrow Video, I have Dollar Tree, I have Mondo Macabre, I probably said that wrong. I got Vinegar Entertainment VHS Bluray editions. Pete wants to say hello. What's up, Pete? Yeah, he wants to say what's up. Good boy. All right, buddy. I got the VHS style Blu-rays. I got some random just catalog titles from, I don't know, wherever. I have 2 Shout Factories, and I have a massive Vinegar Syndrome haul. So I'm just gonna get into it. I've been wanting to do this channel for a really, really long time. I obsess about horror. I live horror every day, whether it's on the internet, YouTube. Horror is life for me. So I thought, why not try to go out there, start a channel, find a community, and communicate with the same people that I want to be associated with. I love horror. I love physical media. I want to do everything I can in my power, at least any small contribution, to keep physical media around as long as we possibly can. And a lot of people, honestly, all you hear when you read articles of, oh, Samsung stopped making Blu-ray players. It's the downfall of physical media. Physical media is dying. In my opinion, and Serial at Midnight, Heath from Serial at Midnight made a good point. We are in the golden age of physical media. We are seeing movies that we never would have ever thought, not only getting Blu-ray releases, but getting some of the most amazing Blu-ray treatments from these boutique companies like Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow Video and all these amazing companies that are putting out phenomenal releases of movies that honestly maybe don't deserve it technically, but I'm so glad that we have them. When I say don't deserve it, I just mean, who would have thought? We get a Passion of Darkly Noon Arrow Video release. So anyway, I don't want this video to be too long. Anyway, my name's Justin. This is going to be the first of what I hope is many, many more videos. I have so much cool stuff to show you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. And here we go. First on the list, from Columbia, Sony, Just One of the Guys. If you know it, you know it. This movie is absolutely one of my all-time favorite 80s comedies, probably my favorite. Going above anything, over the John Hughes stuff, any classic sex comedies, Hard Bodies, Porky's, anything like this. This is it. This is it. It's not R-rated. It's not super gnarly. It's just so 80s it hurts. Insanely classic 80s comedy about a girl going to another school disguised as a man, well, a boy, a high school boy. And it is just a time capsule going back to the 80s and everything that was 80s. Phenomenal, phenomenal movie. My dog's chewing up my shirt. Pete, get off that. Sorry about that. Classic movie. For the longest time, I was hoping this would get a Blu-ray release. It finally did. The transfer looks great. The sound looks great. Not many special features. We got a filmmaker and cast commentary, theatrical trailer. Fairly bare bones, but there's some cool stuff in the commentary if you want to check it out. To anybody who hasn't seen this, quintessential, classic, best of the best 80s sex comedy of all time. Check it out. Moving on. Verotika. This release is way too good for how shitty this movie is. And I mean that in the best way. This movie is amazing, but it's horrible. And then the way that The Room is horrible, but amazing. Written, directed, produced, completely done by Glenn Danzig of Danzig and the Misfits. It's an anthology. The wraparound story really makes no sense. The acting is fucking horrible. The production value is terrible. It looks like it was made on a shoestring budget, but somehow you just can't take your eyes off of it. I don't know how the actors didn't crack up during every scene because of the dialogue, the situations. It's just hilariously bad in the best way. Grab some beers, get some smoke, pop this on, and just enjoy what is one of the worst, best movies I've seen in so long. There's a loose plot involving this demon that, I don't know. It's going into the plot really serves the movie no purpose. Just check it out. Everybody has a terrible French accent. Half the actors and actresses, I know the majority of the actresses were porn stars and adult film actresses. This edition came with the Blu-ray, the DVD, and the soundtrack for a fairly decent price. It was less than $20, so I checked it out. Check it out. Now we have the Arrow releases. First is The Passion of Darkly Noon. When I was growing up, the majority of these movies, a lot of the movies that I'll go through today and, no, maybe not today, but future in the channel, I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, and the age of movie stores and video stores and blockbusters and mom and pop shops and cable TV. I was fortunate enough that I had Cinemax and Showtime and HBO and all those channels, and I just remember setting the VHS up. Yes, VHS. You used to be able to set timers, 2 or 3 a night, however you wanted to do, and you could set your tape to be able to record up to 6 hours of time. And I would look through the TV guide. I'm really dating myself, but that's just how it is. I'd look through the TV guide every night. This is before you had a menu on your TV, and I'd look at what was playing, and I'd be like, ooh, Hellraiser, Nightmare on Elm Street, this looks good, because it gave you a brief description. It told you what it was rated R for. So if I saw HBO's playing, The Passion of Darkly Noon, graphic violence, nudity, rated R, I'm a 12-year-old kid, I'm like, fuck yeah, all right. So I would say I discovered a lot of movies just based on the title and their description and whatever. So this was one of those movies I just happened to set that recording reminder for on VHS, and I never forgot it. I think it was the first Brendan Fraser movie I ever saw before Encino Man or anything like that. But The Passion of Darkly Noon. When I saw that this was getting a release not too long ago, a few months ago, I was of course happy to see it get a release, but I was really shocked this would be getting an Arrow treatment with a slipcover and I don't know, it's pretty incredible. Brendan Fraser plays Darkly Noon. That's his character's name. You don't really get a whole lot of backstory other than him kind of a small amount of dialogue talking about his past and where he came from. He was obviously the member of a weird religious cult, and at the beginning you see him stumbling around in the woods, and he makes his way to this idyllic, beautiful looking home in the forest, and the unbelievably gorgeous Ashley Judd finds him, takes him in, while her husband is out on some sort of nature walk. It's kind of weird. Viggo Mortensen's characters, he's deaf, and he goes out into the woods and disappears for days at a time. While he's out, Brendan Fraser shows up at their house, and he is somewhat of a mute. He has obviously been through some sort of crazy trauma. She takes him in, and he slowly becomes, Ashley Judd's character becomes the subject of obsession for Brendan Fraser, and the movie goes really ape shit as it goes on. Really cool movie. So glad it got the Arrow treatment. Definitely check it out. This wasn't a limited release or anything, so you should still be able to find it. Next up, Elvira. I know this movie has a huge cult following. I have not seen it yet. I happened to find a good edition on eBay with the slipcover, brand new copy. So I swooped it up for around 20 bucks. Loaded with special features. Like I said, I've never seen it. I know Elvira is a pretty big deal in the horror community. New 4K restoration, new audio track, introduction, I don't know, a bunch of different stuff. Little TV spots, the making of Elvira, really cool edition of Elvira. Next up, The Woman, written, directed by Lucky McKee, starring Pollyanna McIntosh. This is part of The Woman trilogy series. The Offspring was the first in the series, and basically the first one was a really stripped down kind of home invasion horror movie with this feral family that lives out in the woods, literally doesn't have language, eats off the land, rips animals apart and lives off meat and lives in caves and shit like that. And they come across this house and terrorize this family, and that's what you get for The Offspring. For The Woman, which in my opinion is the best in the trilogy, the third one being Darlin, which was just released this past year, written and directed by Pollyanna McIntosh. The Woman is the matriarch of the family. She is out in her natural environment, and this man, leader of this, just a normal, it's kind of a satirical take on what the standard nuclear family looks like, the picture perfect family, the father, son, mother, daughter, but under the surface, the family is insanely fucked up. And the father of this family goes out, finds this feral woman, takes him back to his house where his family is, locks her up in the basement, and attempts to domesticate her. And it obviously, if you haven't seen the movie, it doesn't go well for anybody involved. The son is a insane sexual deviant. The mother is completely oppressed and abused by her husband. The dad is just a horrible character. But towards the end, shit goes insane. Obviously, she's too insane for him to be able to. Get down, buddy. He can't contain her. She ends up. I won't spoil anything, but it doesn't go well for this family. So that's The Woman. Next up, Inherent Vice. Okay, so the next 6 movies are actually Dollar Tree finds. If you have a Dollar Tree around you, some have more of a selection than others, but most do end up having a decent amount of Blu-rays and DVDs for sale for $1 a piece. You can't beat it. Inherent Vice, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Josh Brolin, Owen Wilson, Maya Rudolph, an amazing cast, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Of course, he did Magnolia, Boogie Nights, There Will Be Blood, The Phantom Thread, and I have yet to see this movie, and I feel like it kind of went under the radar, so I really anticipate seeing this. It looks really, really interesting. If you all know anything about it, let me know what you think. I'm looking forward to checking that one out. Next up, Rutger Hauer stars in Hobo with a Shotgun. Collector's edition, slipcover, tons of special features, commentary, documentaries, Fangoria, interviews. Basically, the title kind of says it all. Hobo with the Shotgun. It's a really cartoonish, ridiculous, gory, shoot 'em up, Rutger Hauer growling through the whole movie, kind of like he does in every damn movie. Like in Split Second, you can't understand half of what he says throughout the movie, but he's had enough, and he's fucking people up for an hour and a half. I probably need to not go too deep into every single one of these movies. This video is going to be an hour long. Paris Je t'aime. This is I guess you could kind of call it an anthology, but a vignettes kind of done by a bunch of different directors. So you have, looks like 10 or 15 different directors, each directing a different segment that they all take place in Paris. These type of movies were really big in the early 2000s, like pre-2010. You get these just mashups of 50,000 A-list stars with barely any plot, and they just try to shove as many stars in your face as they could in these really loosely plotted, kind of kitschy type of movies that usually surrounded around a location or a holiday, Valentine's Day, New Year's Eve, and then they just market it, and they usually don't end up well. So this was one of these. I'm curious as to how this is going to turn out. I've never seen it. For $1, I picked it up. Compliance. Based on true events, this movie is actually pretty disturbing. It's about a young girl that works at a fast food restaurant, and there is this guy on the outside of the restaurant making threatening calls and accusing one of the employees of stealing or theft. So they bring her back in the back room, and goes through all these really terrible things because the people in the store are too stupid to realize they're not talking to an actual authority figure. Somebody calls in and says, I'm a police officer or detective or something, and I need you to investigate this girl for theft. And over the phone, he instructs these other fast food employees and random employees to do these horrible things to her, basically holding her hostage as a prisoner in this fast food restaurant. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's really disturbing, and the fact that it's actually based on a true story is even more disturbing. You can even look up a lot of the CCTV footage from the actual situation and find out what this poor girl went through. It's just really, really crazy, kind of disturbing, you need to know what you're getting into when you look into it, but pretty cool. Apartment 212. The cover looked okay. It was $1, and Kyle Gass of Tenacious D is in it. It's probably terrible. Looks like it might be a little decent creature feature. We'll see. I don't know. Next up, for $1, 10 movie collection. I don't expect much from this. I tried to look at some of the actors in it to see if there was any substantial. I don't know. This is probably a bunch of dog shit movies, but it has 976 Evil Part 2 among 9 other movies. So I figured for $1, I'm getting 976 Evil 2 and 9 other trash movies. We'll see. Next up, now this one is super cool. Possession. This one I brought up a little bit of information here because this is still available. This is one of 2,000 copies available. It is actually now out of print, but there's a small stock less on, I don't know how you say this, Toufan, TOUFAAN.com. This edition is a limited to 2,000. It says extremely limited stock left, so once it's gone, it's not getting printed anymore. Possession is a 1981 kind of supernatural thriller, kind of weird movie. I haven't seen it in an extremely long time, so I don't really remember a whole lot. It stars Sam Neill, but I saw this edition. I knew it was going out of print, so I had to pick it up. So, Pete, sorry about that. Go, Pete. Excuse me for a sec. I got to get this. Here. Come here, buddy. All right, my dog's freaking out. Sorry about that. Okay. Spiral Staircase movie, a never-ending metaphysical game of cat and mouse. A visionary scathing attack on what could be called an alien from within. A movie that deliberately goes against the new dominant ideology and takes huge risk. That's not really giving much of a plot. I don't know. I don't really remember a whole lot, but I had to get this movie. Again, it's available from Mondo Macabre, I think. Mondo Macabro. Anyway, definitely, like I said, there's a few left on twofan.com. At this point, as I'm making this video, it's still available. It says edition status. Out of print, very limited quantities left in stock. Order while supplies last. It's a hell of an edition. This thing's got some girth to it. It's kind of got like a velvet. I'll probably do an unboxing of this, so I'm not going to open it right now. But we have the restored HD transfer, a bunch of different special features. It's got the soundtrack, an 84-page booklet, lobby cards, art cards, Japanese movie flyer reproduction. This is really substantial. Mondo Vision presents the first ever North American Blu-ray release of Possession. So if you're a fan of Possession, snag that while you can, because it's going out of print. The next up from Witter Entertainment, this was just actually a suggested ad on my Facebook page, and I'm really glad I saw this. And then on the Shockwave podcast, Fangoria Shockwave's podcast, Lucky McKee was talking about this release. I have 2 VHS. These are actual VHS releases of these movies, which is so fucking cool. So we have The Woman on VHS, and there's a little card in there from Lucky McKee. Really, really cool. The big box, snapcase, VHS. I mean, how cool is that? So, and it there is actually some VHS special features. So we have introduction by actress Lauren Ashley Carter, letter from director-writer Lucky McKee, letter from the producer. So cool. I am so glad to have that in my collection. As of right now, this is still available for $20. Witter Entertainment, WITTER entertainment.com. They have a bunch of different VHS available right now. I'll go through the list here in a second. But The Woman VHS. Next, also on VHS is Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich. I know some people hated this movie. I was actually fortunate enough to see this at a local theater when it came out. I thought this movie was a ton of fun. It's ridiculous. It's really heavy on the humor and the comedy and stuff, but there's some absolutely great gore. It's a lot more fun than some of the terrible subsequent sequels that we got after the first one that are just almost unwatchable. Half of them are rehashed footage from previous movies they keep recutting together. I don't know what's going on with Full Moon, but some of their stuff is really fucking terrible lately. But The Puppet Master, Littlest Reich is so much fun. It really, really is. I forget what else this director's done. He's done some other decent stuff. I can't think of it right now, but these VHS are so freaking cool. So definitely check this out. We got Udo Kier. We have Barbara Crampton. What is his name? Thomas Lennon from Reno 911. It's just a really funny, silly, gory installment in the Puppet Master series. It's really, really cool. And if you're interested in any of these other VHS, they actually have, let's see, what do they have? Patchwork, Victor Crowley, Yoga Hosers, Director's Cut, Extremity, Portals, Red Christmas. There's, I don't know, they got a bunch of other VHS stuff. And I'm actually noticing on here, there's a warning saying The Woman on VHS is almost gone. So if you're looking to get that, you may want to jump on it because it's not going to be around for much longer. Next up, these couple I've actually found at Walmart. This was only $15. I've never seen this. Stephen King's TV adaptation of The Stand, directed by Mick Garris. A pretty phenomenal cast, too. Molly Ringwald, Gary Sinise, Ossie Davis, Miguel Ferrer, Corin Nemec, Matt Frewer, a bunch of really cool. Rob Lowe. 1994 was the original air date of The Stand on CBS, the all original miniseries. I found it with the slipcover. I picked it up for $15. I am really super stoked to check that out. I didn't know that Mick Garris actually directed it, so that's cool. I know he's done a couple of collaborations with Stephen King. Really stoked for that one. Next up, We Summon the Darkness. I loved the hell out of this movie. Johnny Knoxville, Alexander Daddario, Amy Forsyth. Really, really fun movie. Some good gore, a fun little story. If you're into metal and rock music, they do a pretty decent nod to some of the 80s metal bands and stuff like that. But basically you have these girls headed to a concert, and they meet up with this group of guys who seem kind of skeezy and creepy. You don't really kind of know what their intentions are. They go to the concert, they have a good time. And then from then on you think, man, these dudes are up to some gnarly shit. What are they going to do to these poor girls? There's a little bit of a bait and switch towards the middle of the movie. The movie takes a turn that you don't expect it to take. And I enjoyed the hell out of this one. Really, really funny movie. We Summon the Darkness. There's some comedy to it. I'm going to check the recorder. All right, this is going... It's been going a long time, so I just wanted to double check this that it was still going. I need to kind of go through these because this video is getting a little long. The Wizard, Fred Savage, the Shout Factory Collector's Edition Shout Select. Classic movie, kind of speaks for itself. Fred Savage killed it in the 80s. We all know that. This might actually have been early 90s. 1989. So this is the time when he was doing The Wonder Years and Little Monsters and just some really cool movies like that hold a big place in my heart. I'm sure a lot of your guys' heart. These older, late 80s, early 90s movies. Just a classic Nintendo old technology time capsule about basically a giant advertisement for the Nintendo glove, the Power Glove. But classic, really glad to have this in the collection. The next movie up from Scream Factory is, of course, Idle Hands. We finally got a decent Blu-ray release of Idle Hands. New scan, interviews, commentaries, classic 90s horror comedy. If you've never seen it, basically, it kind of takes a lot from, it's like basically a whole, like, the last half of Evil Dead 2, where he loses control of his hand. It's really similar to that. Devon Sawa he loses control of his hand, and it wreaks havoc. Horror comedy from the 90s, highly recommend it. Okay, so Vinegar Syndrome had their yearly halfway to Black Friday sale. I kind of went crazy and bought a bunch of titles, and I'm going to be honest, I had only seen one of these movies out of this whole stack, so I am really excited to dive into all these. Vinegar Syndrome, first of all, best slipcovers in the game. I don't care what anybody says. Vinegar Syndrome has the best slipcovers in the game. I really wish that Scream Factory would up their game and take a nod from Vinegar Syndrome with their cartoonish Walmart artwork and the paper-thin slipcovers. These are heavy, cardstock, double-walled slipcovers with embossing. I don't know. Their packaging is amazing. Their transfers are incredible. So I'm just going to blow through these real quick, and because I have a couple other things I want to go through. So, Blood Games. I think I'm actually going to do my first single film review on Blood Games because I just watched this the other night. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Great little revenge movie. It seems straight out of the late 70s, early 80s, but this movie was made in 1990. When you watch it, it looks and feels so much older. I would have absolutely guessed, if I didn't know what year it was made, that it was made in the late 70s. It has a very Last House on the Left, I Spit on Your Grave kind of look and feel to it. Great revenge thriller. Blood Games. Check that one out. Next, Rad. the extremely limited nature of this movie. I am so glad that I was able to get the limited edition lenticular slipcover. I'm not sure if this sold out or not. I'm sure they will come out with a standard edition, but with the limited slipcover, I think it's probably sold out. I went ahead and sprung for the 4K release. I want to try to support these 4K releases as much as I can. I know a lot of the companies are doing these 4K releases, especially like Blue Underground releasing movies they've already released 2 or 3 times again on 4K. I wish they'd, that's a whole other thing. They release these movies over and over again. So first time this movie ever gets released, we get a 4K release on Rad. So I'm really stoked to have this in the collection. Classic 80s cheese. Next, I don't know anything about these movies. These were all blind buys, so I'm just going to run through them. Flesh-Eating Mothers. Again, look at that artwork. The artwork on Vinegar Syndrome's releases are absolutely incredible. Flesh-Eating Mothers. I don't know what to expect. Maybe I'll do some individual reviews on these as I watch them. Next, Luther the Geek. I had never even heard of this movie. When Luther was a boy, he discovered there was something different about him. He enjoyed the taste of blood. Follow the footsteps of others like him, Luther became a geek, a deranged man who bites the heads off live chickens in disdain for booze or money. Decades later, he is about to be paroled from prison and is ready to return to his hometown, fitted with a set of razor-sharp metal teeth and the unquenchable thirst for human blood. Looks absolutely ridiculous. A lot of these Vinegar Syndrome release movies can be kind of hit or miss. I know I've gotten a couple that I just ended up getting rid of because they were kind of unwatchable. I hope these are good. The Candy Snatchers. Apparently one of Tarantino's all-time favorite 70s grindhouse exploitation movies. I'm really excited to have this in the collection. The Candy Snatchers. Again, I might do some reviews, individual reviews or unboxings on some of these in the future. I'm not sure. But Vinegar Syndrome's The Candy Snatchers. Next up, The Vineyard. I watched the trailer for this one. I had to get it. Looks super weird. The wines created by Dr. Elson Poe have been known for decades as among the finest in the world. But unknown to the public, Poe has been using his vintning and chemistry skills as a front for a much more sinister purpose, harvesting fresh blood from his youthful victims to produce an elixir designed to keep him young forever. Starring that one dude you've seen in a million movies. I forget his name. James Hong. Excited about that one. Savage Dawn. Really cool slipcase. This is like kind of a hard cardstock bottom loading slipcase, which is really, really cool. And a lot of these from this sale had double artwork. So you get that on the back, or I don't know, and then you get that. So that's pretty cool. I have never seen this movie. Starring Lance Henriksen. Residents of a small border town find themselves under siege by a vicious biker gang who gets their kicks from unfettered brutality. When Stryker, a hardened Vietnam veteran who's in the area visiting an old friend, learns of the goings-on, he becomes determined to put an end to the violence by any means necessary and forms an ensemble, a ragtag militia. So that sounds pretty cool. I'm not sure what to expect from that one. I'm pretty stoked to check that one out as I just annihilate this case. Next up, Angel, the Angel Collection trilogy about high school girl, detective, hooker. I don't know what the hell these movies are. I know they're classics. I think it was just a little before my time. I just happened to miss these somehow. But I'm really stoked to check these out. Of course, the box set is really, really cool. And you have the whole trilogy there. So pretty stoked to have that in the collection. And the last movie is the Amityville Cursed Objects collection. So this has 4 movies. We have Amityville Horror, The Evil Escapes. Amityville 1992, It's About Time. Amityville, A New Generation, and Amityville Dollhouse, which I guess certain specific objects within the house are cursed, so it looks like a dollhouse, a clock, and other things. Each has their own individual artwork. Really looking forward to checking these out. So right now, Vinegar Syndrome's website is down. After these big sales, they kind of shut down their website for 2 or 3 weeks while they collect all their orders and ship them out, and then resume business as usual once they get all their orders fulfilled. So as of right now, I don't think their site's open, so I don't know if all these things are sold out at the moment. Hopefully some of them are still available. I know a lot of them are probably sold out, but hopefully you'll be able to snag some of those releases. Last thing I have are t-shirts. I don't see a lot of people showing their horror shirts, and there's so many amazing companies putting out horror apparel. Gutter Garbs, Cavity Colors, Graveyard Goods, Rotten Cotton, I mean, just a bunch of cool stuff. So I thought I'd share my shirt pickups. First, we have April Fool's Day from Fright Rags. A lot of their bigger titles tend to sell out fairly quickly, so head over to fright-rags.com and check them out here. Just a sick April Fool's Day design. So cool. And then these next two are from Video Grime Printing. They have $10 shirts. They're printed on Giljan heavy cotton shirts. They're freaking awesome. The print is amazing, and they're only $10. They're always running some kind of $10 shirt deal. So I picked up Videodrome, and I picked up Nightbreed, both $10 a piece. $20 for 2 shirts. You can't beat it. Can't beat it. Next one I got was Piranha from Gutter Garbs. Super cool. And then we had The Evil Dead. And oh god, now I'm blanking on where I actually got this one. I want to say, oh shit, I screwed up. My bad. This is from Video Grime Printing. This is the Video Grime Printing. The Nightbreed and Videodrome are from Holy Mountain Printing. Holy Mountain Printing for $10 shirts. All right, guys, that is it. My name's Justin. I'm going to be back again. I'm going to try to start shooting videos on a super regular basis. I'm going to try to shoot on Sundays, have a video out on Sundays, and then try to do one more video review throughout the week. I want to try, for now it's going to be one a week, and I really want to try to do some different things with this channel. I want to do Blu-ray and horror news. I want to do apparel, horror vinyl, Blu-rays obviously, and just anything horror. If you like what you see, subscribe, like the video, and I'm going to be back with tons more cool stuff. See ya.